How's it going, guys? Today's gonna be a controversial video, okay? I'm personally not vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, nor am I a big fan of mainstream veganism. However, the goal of this channel is to present the scientific evidence as it is and being partial about it. So whichever side you're on, don't worry, I'll give credit where credit's due, but I'll warn you straight away, there's gonna be a bitter pill for both sides. I divided this into 3 parts. 2 are gonna be on this video, and there's a second video with the last part. There's a lot of information to get through. This could very well take hours. However, we don't have the time for that. Although, I'll leave an open invitation here. If you would like to debate this in long format, or you know someone who would like to, let me know and I'll be more than happy to do that. Just make sure someone is actually prepared so we can turn it into a productive discussion. And before we start, please, if you get something out of this video, give it a like, because that really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to see more science videos talking about nutrition and training, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single video. That being said, let's dive into it. So the first part of the argument I'll keep very short, and that's the ethics of food and eating animals. I'm a big fan of politics and debates, and there's a couple of issues where I just know that my position isn't a particularly strong one. The argument for veganism from a moral perspective is pretty compelling. It's very hard to read someone like Peter Singer, for example, and try to argue against it. He's a great author, great philosopher, and he presents a very strong case. And if you're not vegan, don't worry, I'm not trying to say you should be. That's not the point of this channel at all. All I'm saying is that it's worth to read books like Ethics of What We Eat and Animal Liberation. They're very interesting works, and they don't just appeal to the emotional side by showing you pictures of dead animals and things like that, but instead contain very reasonable arguments from a logical perspective. And you definitely don't have to agree 100% with them to see that there's quite a bit of truth in there. So I'll say this, I can totally see myself reconsidering this at some point in being vegan, but there's at least one very good reason for me not to do that, which brings me to the second part of this video, performance and body composition. So I gave credit to veganism on the last part. This is where I take some back, okay? Mostly due to 2 reasons, a lack of protein in general and also the lower quality of protein from plant sources. And I know that there's counter arguments to that, but I'll break it all down. Now, before I go any further, I want to make one thing clear. Protein requirements for your body's needs and just staying healthy overall are very low. So you only need about 50 to 70 grams of protein per day and you'll be just fine, mostly if you're not training. And I will discuss that specifically on the next video. So if you're just a regular person trying to be healthy, will veganism be actually healthier for you? So if you don't want to miss that, once again, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon thing so you get notified when I post that video. But on this part of the discussion, that's not what we're talking about, because there's absolutely no way you're gonna make progressive gains in muscle and strength with 70 grams of protein per day. We're instead talking about optimizing your performance and how you look along with a training routine. How you look in this case being defined by your body composition, so how much muscle and fat you have. So let's begin. On the topic of how much protein we need, there are 2 great meta-analyses from 2017 and 2018. The first suggesting that 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is optimal. However, this was mostly untrained individuals. And then the second one suggests benefits all the way up to 2.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. However, those were suggestions for elite athletes. So the conclusion to be drawn for this seems to be that optimal gains will be achieved between 1.6 and 2.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. And that will be depending on your training experience, with more experienced lifters requiring higher protein intakes and beginners requiring less. So that is to say, if you're 75 kilograms or 165 pounds, the minimum amount of protein you need to optimize adaptations is somewhere between 120 and 180 grams of protein per day. Now, with that in mind, not only that's the amount of protein we need, but there are still good reasons to go even higher than that. If you're trying to lose weight, higher protein is shown to increase your satiety, therefore making you eat less. Also, protein has a higher thermic effect. That means your body burns twice as many calories just to digest protein compared to fats and carbs. And if you're trying to gain weight, there's evidence to suggest that even if you overfeed someone by as much as 800 calories per day, chances are that energy will be mostly lost through the thermic effect of food previously mentioned, and also to an increase in NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the energy that we burn just moving around and fidgeting. This is instead of translating into actual fat gain, which is likely to happen when you overfeed on carbs and fats. that is also in line with this 2015 Jose Antonio study that states gains in body fat are unlikely to occur with protein overfeeding. Also, I want to clarify that there's a common misconception that high protein intakes can be bad for your kidneys. And that is just not true. High protein can affect kidney function on patients already with kidney disease. However, that is not true for people who do not have such conditions. With a 2018 meta-analysis of 28 different studies finding that high protein does not adversely influence kidney function in healthy adults. With that said, going back to the vegan argument, I'm sure you've heard this before. You can definitely get protein from plants too. But here's the truth, and this is not an opinion. If you believe that, you're wrong. There's absolutely no way you'll get 180 grams of protein per day on a vegan diet unless you're taking protein supplements. So let me put things into perspective so you see what I'm talking about. One regular chicken breast is basically 53 grams of protein. Now people say peas, for example, have protein. Let's have a look. 100 grams of peas contain a total of 5 grams of protein. That means to get those 50 grams of protein from peas, you'd have to eat more than 1 kilo. That's over 2 pounds of green peas. That's basically a whole bag. It won't even fit onto a plate compared to a small chicken breast. Now, beans variations are probably one of the best sources of vegan protein you have. Pinto beans, for example, in 170 grams, you get a total of 15 grams of protein. That means you need over half a kilo or a whole pound of beans to get the same protein as a chicken breast. Now, when it starts to get interesting is when you look at the rest of the nutritional info. So to get those 50 grams of protein from a chicken breast, you get a total of 0 grams of carbs and 6 grams of fat. That adds up to less than 280 calories. Now in comparison, half a kilo of beans, 50 grams of protein, only 3 grams of fats, but 150 grams of carbs. Adding up, it's 815 calories. Now for peas, well, the 1 kilo of peas you're gonna eat has 50 grams of protein, only 2 grams of fats, but 160 grams of carbs. That adds up to 840 calories. Now to put this into the perspective of a vegan diet, even if you were to eat only beans, which as I said is probably the best source of vegan protein, in a 2500 calorie diet, you'd get only 150 grams of protein. But in reality, what happens is you have beans, then you have some rice, which is a bit less protein, then you have some fruits, which is basically no protein at all. So that at the end of the day, your 2500 calories probably contain more like 110, maybe 120 grams of protein. And that is just not enough in most cases. Now, if you are vegan, don't worry, not all hope is lost. Luckily, nowadays there's plenty of options of vegan protein powders available. So if you make sure to get 3 to 4 grams of protein from supplements, that will definitely help a lot. I just need you to forget the idea that you can possibly get the protein without the supplements, because it's just not true. Now for the last point of protein quality, long story short, protein molecules are chains of amino acids. Animal proteins tend to be more complete. That is to say, they have a larger variety of these amino acids. Also, animal protein tends to have more leucine, which is the main amino acid when it comes to muscle protein synthesis. Also, one last point, plant proteins are less digestible. That means it's harder to get the amino acids from them. Now, a lot of people will argue that if you eat the right sources with the right variety, you're getting all of the amino acids, which can be true, but is not very practical or realistic. That is because first, you're probably still under eating in protein if you're on a vegan diet. And second, but most importantly, there's actually a very recent December of 2019 study comparing regular whey protein, so basically milk protein, versus 3 different high-quality plant-based protein blends. Very well-designed study, each person is their own control. Now they didn't just equate for protein, they actually equated for leucine, which as I said, is the main amino acid that drives muscle protein synthesis. And in order to do that, they actually had to use, for the vegan blends, 30% more protein than the whey protein. Now what they found was that even with equated leucine and 30% more protein, still the animal protein had significantly greater levels of amino acids in the blood. And it wasn't just a little bit, it was actually almost 40% more for the whey protein. Now why that is still being discussed, but the difference is just too big to ignore. Now to summarize this section shortly, am I saying you can't make gains on a vegan diet? No, absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying, and I want to make that very, very clear. There are plenty of vegan athletes out there in the world. However, what I'm saying is, if you are on a vegan diet, you're probably limiting yourself. That is to say, even though you might make strength and muscle gains as a vegan, you'd probably make even more if you just added animal protein sources to your diet, or at the very least, some protein supplements. Now, not everyone wants to improve muscle and strength necessarily. A lot of people just want to be healthy overall, and that's exactly what the next video is gonna be, the effects of veganism on health. So if you don't wanna miss that one, once again, click the subscribe button, bell icon thing so you get notified when I post it. And also there was a lot of effort put into this video, so if you don't mind, I'd appreciate if you can click the like button. That really, really helps. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Guys, if you found this helpful, please like the video, click the subscribe button and the bell icon thing so you get notified every time I post a video. I swear to God that helps a lot, mostly now that I'm starting so we can grow the channel, and that's the only way you can actually keep posting videos. And I'm actually pretty active as well, apart from YouTube, on Instagram, so if you want to see daily videos of my workouts and things like that, make sure to check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.